God has a great purpose for your life. Oh, yes, He does. I'm sure you're wondering what makes me so certain. The answer is simple. Everything that was created for a purpose. And that includes you. Have you ever wondered why some flowers look so beautiful in their colors? Don't mistake its beauty for the sake of appearance alone. The purpose of that beauty is for pollination. Pollination is simply the transfer of pollen grains from one flower to another, and pollination is an essential part of plant reproduction. So, the petals of these flowers attract pollinators like insects and hummingbirds to the flower. These pollinators then carry the pollen from one flower to another, which then causes the flower to fertilize, which later yields seeds and fruits. If a flower can carry that much purpose, then why can't you? Don't you know that you are created in the image and likeness of Him? You are the apple of His eyes. He has put so much into you, and He has placed it there for a purpose. I need you to know that God has a great purpose for your life. What is purpose? Purpose is the intent of the Creator for the created before creation. I think you may need to hear that again. I said, purpose is the intent of the Creator for the created before creation. That tells you immediately that you didn't come to earth to look for purpose. Purpose brought you here. The reason you are still alive and not dead is because God has a plan for you. When there's a need to be solved, someone is sent. Just so you know, there's a need on earth to be solved, and that is why you were sent here to fulfill that need, even if you haven't figured it out yet. Stop comparing yourself with your friend. You two don't have the same purpose. While yours might be to serve kings with your great culinary skill, don't envy your friend who is into politics. We tend to lose God's purpose for our lives when we start comparing ourselves. Comparison is a purpose killer. The human race is in a dilemma today because many of us are in places we are not meant to be. The purpose of a thing determines its design. The purpose of a thing determines its usefulness. The purpose of a thing determines its functions and capacity. The purpose of a thing determines its position. The purpose of a thing determines longevity, how far it can last. The purpose of a thing determines its value. Do you know how much value is placed on you? Out of everything that was created, only man was given the ability to think like God. In fact, our ability to think gives us the capacity to invent. Why? Because we were made for a purpose. Listen, you may ask yourself, if God has a great purpose for my life, then why am I suffering? Do you realize that there's a purpose even in that suffering? There's a saying that says, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. It is true. If that sickness has not ended your life by now, despite the doctor's report saying you have only 2 weeks to live, but here you are still going strong, then believe me, God still has a purpose for your life. It may not feel like it. It may not sound logical, but trust me, God has a great purpose for your life. You may be wondering why it seems as though life has singled you out for tribulations. Debt hanging over your head, your rent is due, you are trying to get by every day while you still try to maintain focus. Don't be discouraged. God has a plan for you. Let me share with you the story of a Christian motivational speaker, Nick Vujicic, who was born with tetraamelia syndrome, a rare disorder resulting in the absence of arms and legs. On many occasions, he was depressed and attempted suicide because of how he was born and the bad treatment he had to endure from people while growing. He prayed countless times that if God was real, He would give him arms and legs. And guess what? God never answered that prayer. But what he didn't realize at that time is that God had a greater plan for him. Today, he is being used by God to bring words of hope to people all around the world. I challenge you to start seeing things from God's perspective. You are not useless. You are not a mistake. Your parents may have considered you a waste, but God sees you as precious. You may have been considered not good enough or even an afterthought, but God sees you as His priority and a perfect masterpiece. Remember, He is the potter and we are the clay. No potter molds anything without having a picture of what he wants in mind. That is exactly the way God sees you. When He looks at you, He smiles. You know why? He sees beauty. He sees perfection. He sees a masterpiece. Why are you looking at yourself as insignificant? God is seeing you as valuable. It is so easy to look at all our disabilities, shortcomings, imperfections, and think, you know what? I think I'm useless. I am a misfit. But have this at the back of your mind. No matter what you may be facing, believe me, God has a purpose for your life. You hold meaning. You hold potentials. You hold value. You hold everything you need to make this earth a better place. You're not a mistake. God has a special and unique purpose fashioned for your life. That gift you consider insignificant, God gave you for a reason. That opportunity you have is given for a purpose. That beauty you possess was for a purpose. That job you have was given for a purpose. That influence you have was given for a purpose. Why don't you allow Him to live out that purpose through you? Remember, everything you are and everything you will become is for a purpose. You are not a waste. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are not an object of ridicule. God has a purpose for your life, and it is a great one. If you have enjoyed this content and you want more, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. God bless you.